From the outside, nothing appears to be out of the ordinary with this cluster of sheds in Newton Street, Broadmeadow. On a closer look, the tenants have been battening down the hatches with huge steel doors and bars on their windows. The reason? Senseless attacks by vandals have made life unbearable for these small businessmen. In the space of a few weeks early this year, a wave of attacks has seen thousands of dollars in damage done to the sheds and their contents. The victims of these senseless attacks are usually the battlers, the small businessmen, the tradesmen in a rented shed. And the problem is that although insurance will cover their bills, the days lost in trading can add up to a lot of money.
I've lost a lot of time just trying to compile figures and prices, just lost trade and loss of incentive, really.
Stephen Watson has been in business just 15 months. His automotive repair shop was sprayed with graffiti, along with this Ford station wagon he was repairing. Car polish was poured into the engine, and the upholstery damaged beyond repair. The offenders also left a disgusting calling card, defecating over the shop floor. So what happens if the insurance company doesn't come to the party with all of the damages?
I go to the wall. That's it. Pack up and go home.
Alan Tyre runs a small shop which sells auto parts at the end of the industrial cul-de-sac. His windows have been smashed so many times that he secured them with thick metal posts. How often have you been broken into?
That was the third one, I think, that we've had, yes.
In how many weeks?
In 1 week, yeah.
Another tenant has been forced to fabricate a solid steel door, complete with the security deadlock, to keep the intruders out. Neville Patterson is a partner in this light metalworking shop. He was lucky. The thieves only took petty cash from his shed. Are you happy with the police patrolling?
Well, not really. We've worked back of a night time up to 11 o'clock and we have not seen a soul, not one police patrol.
Do you think the police could patrol this area more regularly?
Oh, I'd like to see it, yes.
I love it. I'd like to be on this old deck. Only I'd like to be up at that wheel. But I can't, them days are gone. I've had her so long, been on her so many times. She's a great old ship. She's one of the best, I reckon.
What appeals to you about the Beatles?
The fact that they're British and that they're very talented without knowing how to read a word of music. And they have a good sense of humor. They're ordinary boys.
4 ordinary boys from Britain who stepped off the plane and into the culture.
The Beatles all of a sudden, boom, they were there, and everybody was talking about them.
Tell you something, I think you'll understand.
Pop music had never been so popular. It was a combination of things. Television helped. They were foreign and exotic. It's somehow not as threatening as the rock and roll that came before them. Elvis had fans, but nothing like this. It was their songs, mostly written by Lennon and McCartney, that seemed to offer limitless possibilities to a youth culture feeling its importance for the first time.
I don't care too much for money, money can buy me love.
And they are youth, and they stand up and say, you know, we have intelligent things to say about what it means to be young in today's modern world.
During their 7-year reign together, they changed the focus of the recording industry, from singles to albums. Their music helped define a youthful generation of change, and it's been able to move through time. The generation they helped define is getting older, but their songs seem ageless.
You know I feel all right.
Well, I think a complete ban is unreasonable because basically it's gone further than just a smoking ban. It's mainly an issue now of freedom of choice.
Sure, people have been smoking for years and years. It can be annoying to some that say it causes distress while you're eating. Sure, let's set up separate areas, give them a separate area, but we can't take it off them. They've been doing it for too long.
It's an election issue and not a health issue. Also, I don't think that a council of 10 non-smokers and reformed smokers can properly judge reforming smoking in public places. It's like giving reformed alcoholics the right to revise the licensing laws.
Just where the river goes, someone throws me a line. It's the last of the riverboats going home.
Sir Ronald began his invitation tour of the Hunter Valley parishes by addressing the crowded St Luke's Church. Formerly a Justice on the High Court of Australia, Sir Ronald was invited to discuss the direction of the 11-year-old Uniting Church. Many leaders from other denominations attended tonight's celebration service. Aside from the more traditional church issues, Sir Ronald emphasised the importance of caring for our environment for future generations as a priority for the Uniting Church.
We are here as stewards of the environment, where we see our role as one of caring for the environment, and that means a proper use of resources. It means a proper care for the rainforest, for pollution. We don't want to leave the environment to our children as a worse place than we ourselves inherited it.
For travellers caught out by yesterday's pilot strike, the prospect of further delays this morning was the last straw.
We cancelled the meeting in Melbourne.
They must have their reasons, but we don't appreciate their reasons.
The scene was set for a day of frustration when Sydney airspace opened 3/4 of an hour late. But far from improving, flight schedules got steadily worse. Australian Airlines and Ansett had put on an extra 50 services to clear yesterday's backlog, only to be limited to 3 arrivals each an hour.
Well, normally we're operating, I think, about 10 to 12 an hour.
By 11 o'clock, both domestic arrivals and departures were running up to 4 hours late. Not surprisingly, the patience of many passengers was running out.
People that go out on strike just like that, to me, it's just not on. The union should be shot as far as I'm concerned.
While most international arrivals were going to schedule, delays in departures meant some passengers were offloaded on the tarmac. Others had to wait in line for a parking space.
Have you ever got a young dog to start running without using rabbits on the lure?
No.
Is it the only way?
I think it's the only way to show them that there is something there.
continuous miner is a combined cutting and loading machine which drives a heading to full seam height and up to 5.5 metres wide. Water sprays help suppress coal dust. Tungsten carbide tipped picks cut the coal and deliver it onto the apron. It takes about 1 minute to load a 10-ton car.
We're busy doing nothing, working the whole day through, trying to find lots of things not to do.
It might have been black and white in the early days, but Bobby Lim's colourful character has always shone through. Often he's shared the spotlight with wife Dawn. The Mobile Lim Show is just one of Bobby Lim's early success stories, which also included The Late Show, The Bobby Lim Show and Bobby Lim's Sound of Music. 10 Logie Awards stand as testimony to his success. At 64, the evergreen entertainer is again laying them in the aisles with a revived Bobby Lim Sound of Music. He's taking it to the road with most of the original television cast.
We came in here with the show. That's Bobby Lim Sound of Music, the television show. It is not the musical comedy, of course. We came in here 1st of May in 1987, opened at the Civic Theatre. It was fantastic. I mean, the place was absolutely packed. We had a standing ovation. It was a great, great night. So I said, here we go. We're going to go sort of pack up and repeat our concert tour that we did. And so I said, the first has got to be in Newcastle.
He says tonight's performance in Newcastle was his first in 4 months.
It was November the 5th last year when I just collapsed and I was rushed to hospital, emergency operations. They told me I had 5-6 hours to live. I had a perforated bowel which turned into peritonitis. And, you know, it was sort of touch and go. But I tell you what, I feel fabulous now.
Health-wise, Bobby Lim has had his share of problems. 20 years ago, he was diagnosed as having cancer of the lower abdomen. Today, you'd never know. But work commitments mean Bobby is unable to attend the 1989 NBN Telethon in aid of the Hunter Oncology Centre. It'll be the first he's missed.
I am sad that I'm missing this one because this would have been my 53rd telethon since television started, you know, as far as I was concerned, in 1957. And so I'm sad that I'm missing out on it.
While happy with his life, sadness is nothing new to Bobby Lim.
I had a nervous breakdown in the late 60s, early 70s, and I was treated by Dr. Harry Bailey at the Chelmsford Clinic with the deep sleep therapy, and I got over a nervous breakdown in 5 weeks. You know, I'm very, you know, I certainly feel great sorrow for all those that had all that trouble at Chelmsford, but my own personal experience was that I was cured of a nervous breakdown in 5 weeks. In 5 weeks, 6 weeks, I was back on my show again.
To many, Bobby and Dawn are seen as the everlasting couple, but the romance hasn't always been rosy. The pair separated in 1973 for 14 months.
It was just too much. We were working so hard together, 24 hours a day show business, and we had no other conversation, had no communication, so that's what happened. We went our various ways. We got freedom of soul for 14 months, but we realised how much we loved each other.
Today, Dawn is semi-retired. Bobby is as busy as ever. He operates the Reptile Park at Gosford and the Forest of Tranquility at Arimba with partners.
I believe that we should do a little bit more in getting the inbounds, that's the Japanese and the Americans, because with this Ascania Park or the Forest of Tranquility and the Reptile Park, we can say with the new highway opening up, you know, like in 38 minutes from Wahroonga, you can see Australia's flora and fauna, you know, at the best.
Proving their love for the area, Bobby and Dawn plan to move from Sydney and make their home on the Central Coast next year. Be it in his home life or as a performer, Bobby Lim is definitely still on the move.
I'm one of the very fortunate in the world that does something or is doing something that I love.